Alright, we've got to get working. Been a busy day. Still got heaps to go. Finally got the first supplies across from the other side of the bridge today after a week, and there's a lot of things I've got to catch up with. It's the trouble when you take a unscheduled holiday for a week, so to speak, because of the weather. It catches up. So hello everybody, welcome. Hey Shane's, Bradley, Watamek, Joho, hey Lars, been a while, and Dan. Alright, just swing this around a little bit. First thing I've got to start doing is I've actually run out of my supply of these containers, which means I have too many jobs that are sitting in limbo. Each job takes up a container, and so I have to quickly tie up some, close them up, and then crap, it's okay. This is a recycled dead job anyway. I replaced the SMC on this one and it went nowhere. This is just if it works, that's great. If it doesn't, it goes into recycling. So this one's going into recycling. It worked for a little bit when it arrived here. It then developed a short on the SMC. I replaced the SMC and then it just didn't come back from that. So I was like, nah, that's it. 1460. What are you? Now we've got very high humidity, high temperature at the moment, and as such there are bugs everywhere. Yucky bugs everywhere. Nasty, smelly ones that just want to crawl into all places they should not crawl into. And then as a bonus, in one of our rooms today, we could smell electrical burning. And I was like, brilliant. So first thing I tell my wife to do is go outside, see if you can see any smoke coming from the roof space. Thankfully not, but it turns out it was a gecko had decided to bridge itself across the live and neutral terminals on the light fixture in the bathroom. So it was always fun. It's not the sort of stuff you want. You start panicking a little bit because you're thinking, the house is going to burn down. And then I'm thinking, how am I going to explain this to the customers? But yeah, it's a very yucky dead gecko melting across the terminals. Hey, Antonio, weird stuff. B-Blood, Therese, Christian, Denny. Let's see, Dan, what do you got? 4 Celsius? Is it 4 Celsius or 4 Fahrenheit? Either way. 4 Celsius, yeah, I could cope with that. Fahrenheit, yeah, probably not. Anyway, so I'm just going to tie up this job, mark it off, get it shipped back, that kind of business. And then we can get on with other things. It's a little hard to do new jobs properly when you've got a choked up queue. Okay, so that's everything by the looks of that. I'm just going to put these on down here. Hey, Mr. Stamps. Hey, Miles. And then I had a fun day, all day, trying to find a bug in my source code. And it turns out it was one of those bugs that wasn't really a bug per se. So what was happening is people would do the part find feature in FlexBV. And for some people, not a lot, probably about 3 or 4 out of a couple of thousand, were reporting that it would crash almost as soon as they started. Anyway, it turns out that what was happening is I changed over to using a different, probably about 12 months ago, I changed it over to using a standard file system, as in C++ standard file system. And then just in the last couple of releases, I updated to use directory iterator for picking out what files I had, PDFs and things like that. And that was all fine, passed all my testing here, except for some people. Anyway, it turns out some aliased folders like My Music and application data in Windows has funny attributes, and it was causing the directory iterator to throw an exception. Now, the trouble is that I wasn't catching the exception, and so it just sort of went, oh, I'm not catching that, landed on the ground, and then crashes the program. So the fix was pretty simple. I just had to put in a third parameter on there, and voila, all worked. But geez, it took me a long time to find that, simply because there was no real logging that was letting me know. Even the Windows crash wasn't saying to me you didn't catch the exception or anything like that. It was just like register gibberish. And I was like, thanks, that really didn't help. And that was with full debugging on my program. Okay, that's one down. Hey, ITC Extreme. Now, it's actually been a long time since I've seen you around here. So yeah, that was the joys of programming. Actually, I don't delve too much into C++, at least not seriously. I mean, obviously I use it, but I don't get fancy with it. I just use the stuff that's convenient in the templates. Things like maps, definitely very helpful. Vectors, of course, standard string, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to doing the old cout and just the nuanced details of C++, I'm like, I'm not here, I'm out of here. Basically, I just write bastardized C. So it's all the simplicity of C with the advantages of C++ standard template library. Yeah. Right. So yeah, we're just putting this back together so that we can reclaim the containers, get that number back up to normal. ITC, you've been extremely unwell over 1 year. Oh, very sorry to hear that, ITC. What happened, or we rather not say, or don't really need to say. Probably the latter. That is not installed properly. Either way, not good to hear. I thought you just were avoiding me. I see now. Way for me to make it personal, eh? That's going to make you feel good. So, yep. Finally come back and Paul takes it personal. Welcome back. Hopefully you are on a progressive road to return. You've had C strings throw exceptions. Alright, I'm gonna have to look into that because I haven't had that. What sort of condition, off the top of your head, or you don't really remember? I'm sure it's something I'll find out. I hope I don't. Yeah, transitioning over to standard strings was a little bit of a pain when I was doing my. I love using printf statements or SN printf, things like that. So it would be a little of a pain to have to do the re-expression of the string into a C pointer type string when you go dot C underscore str, things like that. But yeah, after a while you get used to that and it's not so much of a bother anymore. Let's see, every time I go to use printf on my cheesical, what? Yeah, I feel like the whole cout thing this is where I diverge with a lot of academic technicals. I feel that the printf type construction system works quite well and it's easily understood. You can look at it and you can get a pretty good idea of what you're going to be dumping out. The whole streaming cout system is sort of a step in the wrong direction. Bug down the chest. You little filthy little rat. Yeah, these little buggers are the ones that are the worst. they stink something terrible, and they emit an acid or something like that. It burns. But yeah, one thing I found, Miles, was that I ended up not giving a crap. It was like, you know what? This works. It works well. I'm not changing it. Yeah. It really just comes down to being as simple as that. If people want to get all language pedantic and things like that, great. But for me, I want to get the job done. And the only thing I've found that comes close is there's a library out there called FMT or Format, and it actually does a pretty good job of bridging the gap. But see out crap? No way. I'm no thanks. Moving on. Don't remember. It was related to char conversion. Contains something I didn't like having to. Oh, well, I'll have a look around and see if there is anything like that. Autoimmune disease, GBS, after accidentally inhaling fat. Oh, nasty. Nerve damage. What the hell? That is really bad. Any idea how that came about? That is nasty. It's certainly something that is coming up a lot at the moment around here. There's quite a few people who have been hospitalized because of the rain, and they go out and they start digging around in the soppy wet mess that is out there, not realizing just how much trash is actually in the ground out there ready to catch them. Teslas. Yeah, Miles, the end of the day, you just got to get the job done. That's it. And like I said, I've got no problem with object-oriented design, build, programming, anything like that. Cut my teeth pretty much on it when I was in the early 90s with Ball and Pascal, Ball and C, all that sort of stuff. But I do feel that a lot of the time the pedantic academic side of things kind of gets shouted far too much. People frown on you for not following that. But the thing is, those are people who are not generally having to do production work. Those are people who are not generally having to actually meet deadlines on stuff other than their next thesis. And I can say that too because I've been 4 or 5 years at university. So I can say that. I'm not speaking from a position of having not done that. I've walked in those shoes. I mean, it's good to be strict on some things, but a lot of people seem to make it's like a sport to them or something, kind of like some sort of power hold over other people. Doctors are useless in the UK. I'm on private treatment. Crikey. Yeah, that really sucks. Yep, really sucks when stuff like that happens. Hopefully you can get some sort of uplift in your prognosis. Actually, we normally have to deal with tropical diseases up here quite a lot. Weird stuff that eats you away from the inside, whatever. 9 times been in the hospital and did nothing but... Really? Yeah, that's bad. So we have a law here about that kind of thing, where you can claim, look, I've been in and out of this out of hospitals too many times now. I need someone to actually... I need to get Dr. House here and have him sort me out. I mean, it might kill you, but at least you get to see Hugh. This is another sucky dead machine. That was a M12338. So it could have been a good machine, but that was too severely liquid damaged. And when I checked with the sender, they're like, no, yeah, these are just machines that have been given to us. We were hoping we might be able to part them out, do something with them. Why have I got an extra screw in that end compartment? I didn't see it there. That I know exactly where that belongs. I didn't see it there. I might close up one more after this, and then we can get on to... I've got a 2141 job that needs to be done. And you can pretty much guess what most 2141s are going to need. Other than an exorcism. Screw. There you go. Even though this is basically just probably going to go into a scrap pile and everything like that, I do like to make sure that any screws and stuff like that it came with, it goes home with, to the best of my ability. I've had times where I've put back together a 2114 only to realise that I've left something, not 2114, 2442, which is the annoying ones, very long-winded. But yeah, if you make that mistake, then you got to own it. You got to go back, fix it up. Alright, that screw's not going anywhere. Of course, in this particular case, they've threaded one of the holes, so that's definitely not happening. So, liquid damage. You are out of here. What's it? Burn board. Data recovery. Yeah, right, yep, no. Okay, we're going to make this our last one, and then we're going to start on the repairs. Some metho. I got my Dell screen back today, got the replacement, so that was good. So, kind of got delayed by a week because of the flooding. But yeah, showed up, no dramas, swapped it out, put mine into the box. And you can see this. That's got my dead one. And that can go back now. Okay, what are you stuck on? What are you stuck on? There. How's the 1534? That is a little bit of a frustrating story, that one. Because when it was sent to me, I said to them, 1534s, I don't repair them for repair. It's like data recovery or nothing. So if your customer wants them as data recovery, fine, I can do it. But if this is just for general repair, then no, I'm not. And they said, yeah, no problem. It's data recovery. We'll get the details and come back to you and whatever. So as you saw the other night, I fixed them up. I messaged them, say, okay, it's ready to go. I need those passwords. Oh yeah, nah, don't worry about them. I'm like, what? So I don't know. I don't know where the miscommunication has happened. I've got to look back on things. I'm too busy with everything else at the moment. But I feel like something... Yeah, I don't know what happened with the communications there, because basically I went along and did those jobs on the presumption that it was for data recovery and that they had verified with their various customers that that was what was required. And then apparently not. Hey Joey, how's it going? How'd that stream go last night, Joey? Did it get feisty again? Do you want to tell me how to fix my MacBook here? Maybe everyone else can tell me how to fix the MacBook at the same time, and then you can all argue amongst each other how to fix the MacBook. It's fun stuff. It's always fun when it comes to fixing PCs. Everybody knows everything. Everybody's got the best way to do it. Yeah. When I saw you bring that up, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I ran away. Alright, there's no other screws with this machine other than the chassis screw outside. You actually enjoyed it? Oh, good stuff. Okay, that's good stuff. I usually rage quit. I rage quit pretty hard with those sort of ones sometimes. Like, I've done a few machine repairs and things like that, but it's so hilarious watching the comments. Lots of shooting from the hip stuff. People just desperately hoping that they can hit the mark with whatever they're suggesting, and then they'll become famous to you. My hero. I shouldn't say anything like that. It's, we've all been there. We've all been eager to try and impress, or at least a lot of us have. And it's hard to get attention. It's hard to get your voice heard. I'm going to put those little parts in a baggie. I have a feeling that one might come and haunt me. Yeah, the caps lock people, and then they start raging when you're not paying attention to them. Yeah, and they repeat, and exactly that. Those are the people that are just like, you're like, GTFO. Yeah, they just can't remain calm enough and just wait and sort of go, oh well, didn't get their attention. I mean, Rossmann days when Lewis was trying to fix stuff, and like if it wasn't a MacBook or anything like that, and it was a live stream, oh my goodness, the chat took a life of its own. Say, Blaskoroxy, do you use Gardonex or DeepSpa? No, I don't do any of that. No. I don't dig down into that kind of level of things. If it gets to that, I just send off to another location. It's not for me. I did originally look at investing quite a bit into doing, very specific recovery jobs like that. But in the end, it wasn't for me. I was looking at investing in a clean room outside. I know it sounds a bit contradictory, but I was going to get a cooler, those portable freezer cooler units. And they've got stainless steel insides or aluminium insides. I was going to get one of those, kit it out with a HEPA filter system, all that sort of stuff, everything you need. But around about that time, that's when the whole Rossmann MacBook thing came about. And so I was like, no good. So for me, when it comes to data recoveries and things like that, I basically now, my level is I'll put it into my Linux machine and use DD Rescue or something like that. And I've also built a relaying on-off system. So, if you get some of those jobs that they die out after 1 gig, then you can respawn them and they come back and you get another gig off and so on and so forth. I should point out that's only do that if you've conveyed to the customer, this is to other people, only do that if you conveyed to the customer that, look, this is not actually the best way to do it, but this is a $300 option instead of a $5,000 option. So you got to decide, is your data worth $5,000, in which case, go for the other option. But if it's just sort of like some family photos and you'd like them back, and yeah, 300 sounds right, well then we can do it this way. Hello, Timpano. You're doing a laptop today. Oh, what are you doing? What's going on with your laptop, Joey? Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. 2485. Oh boy. These are hefty machines. And they take a huge amount of time just to get them open and shut. Okay. So we'll get our USB-C, we're going to get a MagSafe 3 for this one. It is interesting with these machines that they will boot without a battery if you have MagSafe 3. Yet if you plug it in with USB-C, they will not, even if it's from the same power brick. Yeah, let's see what we got. My thingies are wrong here. Please stand by. That's better. Alright, well, you can probably tell by the way it's spazzing out like that on the current that there might be current issues. There's some pretty big spikings there. We're looking at about 1 amp spikes. So fingers crossed we might have a shorted tantalum cap. Cat decided to have a tantrum. Hey Ed Boss, how's it going? Hey Pro Engineer. So yes, data recovery is a very delicate subject. And you're right about getting the customers on board and getting the customers to understand what they're going to be up for in terms of costs in advance, and getting them to give you a deposit in advance that they're not going to get back no matter what. All those sort of things. That's why I generally leave the data recovery like that to shops that are explicitly geared for it, so that when people approach them, they get that feel of, oh, this is a very high-end establishment. You know, I'm not going to mess around here. It's going to cost me money. Ah, fuck. Yeah, this is this is not a cap issue. This is a liquid damage issue. God damn it. Ah, yeah, nice one, bro. That ain't no, yeah. Okay, so it's a big snot blast up from the fan, burned out a chip. That is really bad news. Yuck. Now, if we're lucky, we can sort this out, get it to boot. We won't have a display because the angle sensor is dead. I can guarantee you the angle sensor is going to be completely messed up. You do not get liquid damage there without the angle sensor taking a good hit. Alright, so basically we've got to take this out. This is going to be a 50-50 sort of job. Hey, Creature, someone... Oh, did Foxabillo get in touch with you, Creature? As in, you know, Fox from our model aircraft days with ND Flicks. Anyway, he's in here now. He was asking for you. Was that, who was that weirdo in the cold frozen lands? I'm paraphrasing, of course. Alright, so this will probably take a solid half hour just to get the screws out. To be fair, I probably do prefer these over, say, PlayStations. Those, like the Xboxes, some of them are just yuck. Most because you've got to keep flipping it over, you've got big self-tapping screws, it's yucky, yucky, yucky. It's hard work. Whereas this kind of stuff is, everything just stays on the one plane. You flip it over as you need it. I mean, you don't flip it over. Once you're done, you're done. And every screw is relatively similar. yeah, relatively. What do you think of Nerd Tool 1? I haven't used Nerd Tool 1. I know of Nerd Tool. I haven't used it. I've never had to at this point. The other thing is you can actually just recalibrate these by rotating the magnet on the hinge. Or you can transfer the chip to another flex. So yeah, I've never had the situation where I've been needing to get the Nerd Tool. I think the Nerd Tool was great. I think it's very good how they came out so quickly. And they did that thing where if they got over, I think it was like $10,000 worth of sales, they would open source it or something like that. I can't remember the exact details. I don't know what happened with it. I think they may have run into the issue where the alternative options hit the market before they managed to hit their 10,000 mark. And so it might have put a bit of a damper in their community spirit, as it were. I don't know, I'm speculating. Hey, let us repair. What? Solar cell comment? Don't you dare, Caps. Don't you, Caps? Christy. What solar cell? Oh, 11 kilowatt. Oh, and for, you suck, creature. I did finally hear from the solar company that did the one that we've got up here and the ones that we didn't get along with in the end because they shortchanged us, so to speak. Not, they didn't overcharge us or anything like that. It was just a case of they just lumped us with a classic 5 kilowatt inverter with a 6.6 on the roof, rather than actually looking at our demands, which would have told them that, hey, you know, these people need around about 12 on the roof, at least. But yeah. Anyway, they emailed me the other week. The owner of the place did. It's like, I haven't heard from it, and a little worried that we haven't resolved it. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't resolved our issue. Quite frankly, what I'm really waiting from them is for them to say, look, sorry we screwed you around. This is a system that should help you out, and we're going to give it to you at a heavily discounted price. Now, I know that sounds a little bit assholey of me, but believe me, after the nightmare that we went through of just trying to get them to deal with us and sort something out, I think it's only fair. I think the trouble is that when they were dealing with us, they were going through a growth phase, and so their focus was on growth, rather than the customers that were already at their doorstep. And to add insult, our in-laws, of whom I recommended to the company, they ended up with the system that we basically should have had. But for some reason, they didn't give it to us. Solargasm. Yeah. That's very bright of me. Timpaka, yeah, we got to get these out. Yeah, pretty much always the board's going to come out. These ones are just a little extra tricky because there's just so many different cables, screws. I also need to get the proper driver for this. For the love of God, please, people, don't use pliers. Okay, just don't use pliers. It's so bad that I would actually almost feel like setting up a fund to buy the proper sockets so that people don't use pliers on these. Got a A1440 A4 2442, yeah. The 3217s, you're going to have to get a donor and pick it out from the same place, basically. And as for your DZG, they shouldn't be a problem. They're just TVS diodes. I mean, certainly you want to replace it. At least I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering the codes right. But yeah, your 3217, you're going to have to pull from a donor board in the same location, unfortunately. If you're lucky. And then it's more fun when you get the B12s versus the B13 variants. And now, of course, we have the whole new different kind of chip that we're dealing with these days on the new machines. Board view for P20 Pro. Hey, Sudi! Well, good to see everybody turning up that I've forgotten existed. P20 Pro, is that in the XEZ archive? I don't know. If it's not in the XEZ archive, then probably not much luck. Okay. Hey Harold, welcome back. Yeah, they look like, they say critical, but I'm pretty sure it's just a TVS diode. Tell me I'm wrong. It's a TVS diode, isn't it? Okay, so this is the angle sensor. And as you can see, that's what I was saying. It's going to be stuffed, and sure enough it is. This here, I'm not sure what it is. I do not know that chip off the top of my head. It's probably something to do with the power management coming out of MagSafe 3, so we might be able to get away with that by switching over to USB-R. Okay, so what we've got here, this is the Thunderbolt BIOS firmware chip that controls the USB-C. It's probably okay, it just needs a clean up. And this is insignificant, we just clean that up. But when we flip it over, this is where the sad story is. Yeah, and that's the 3218. I do not have donors for these boards. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dry brush this, see how bad it really is, and go from there. I'd be surprised if it's on ZXW and not XEZ, because they pretty much live in each other's pockets, those two. Oh, where was my toothbrush? I used my toothbrush to clean up dead gecko today, but I washed it. Okay, extractor on. And let's dry brush. Now, pardon me, the purpose of the dry brush is I don't want flux drowning out everything on this board. But I do want to clear away the worst of the damage. And we're not going to lose our hints, really. Yeah, because a lot of that damage remains there. You know that it's been liquid damaged just by looking at it. But the dry brushing then lets me find the resistors and caps, mostly the resistors, that have dud ends on them, like there's a couple up here. So they look a little suspicious. That one's okay, that one's okay. That one is loose. And that's on a, looks like a firmware chip. So we'll have to get that replaced. It looks ugly, but ugly is okay as long as it works. So we go to this side. Now this worries me a little more because you can see the severity of the corrosion kind of went up a notch. The upside is that this is a edge chip, like the pins are on the edge, it's not a BGA. The downside is we have some actual board damage here, like the epoxy and stuff is actually burned away. I'd be worried about a short in that area. So now this is just for data recovery. So if I can just ignore this section, fantastic, I'm going to ignore this section. It's amazing what you can get away with when things are just for data recovery. That looks okay. This should be fine. I'm going to wet wipe this a little bit, just in case there are signals that have been, interfered with slightly. Was this Digi battery cable reinforced because it would be what? CD, are you referring to the one I did the other night? And yeah, I ended up using JB Weld on it just to stop the angular load being imparted onto the pads. So like the JB Weld kind of held the flex down on the board itself. Well, Timpano, this is strictly for data recovery, so we're not actually going to worry too much. I just noticed there's some down here. That's bad. If we're lucky, that might just be Wi-Fi. I'd say that resistor is gone. So I'm just going to mark that. And like I said, angle sensor is absolutely 100% guaranteed gone. I'm not even going to bother doing anything with that. Okay, those ones. Okay, let's have a look at this. They might actually still be okay. Looks like they've got a little bit of a underfill sort of runoff on this section. Yeah, that's okay still. It's just a bit of this underfill for some reason over here. So I think if we're really lucky, and I mean really lucky, we only really need to focus on this one resistor here. I think everything else might be tolerable. Like I said again, this is strictly data recovery. As soon as the data's off this machine basically goes in the bin. Yeah, okay, see how that one just popped right off? We need a board view. I've got to find out what that resistor is. Hey Serge, welcome. What is this board view? And the magic number is, it's the 2100. I hate it when you don't even recognize the obvious ones. Hey Sutterbridge, good to see you. Good to see that the problem that you had earlier is fixed. Right, schematics. And let's see, this is... This doesn't feel like the right board view. Oh, I said 2100, not 1700. Ah. Wait, where's my 2100? Ah, there it is. What? Where the hell's the proper outline? Jerks. Okay, anyway, that's the part there. And what are we at? 3K3. And of course that's an I2C pull-up or something, isn't it? Oh, hold L. Alright, not an I2C. Anyway, it's important. 3K3. Can you use FlexBV if you license more than one computer of the same IP address? Serge, the licensing system basically is if it is just you that is using it and you've got a couple of computers in your workshop and you just like bounce back and forth between them and it's just you, that's fine. You can use that one. If, however, you've got two techs doing work on machines concurrently or likely to be concurrently, then yeah, you're going to need a second license. But yeah, if it's just yourself, no problem. Okay, 3K3, we do have indeed a 3K3. These are 201s. These are toddler components. Okay, they're not babies, but they're not adults either. Hey Bazar, Suitor, are you the one having the moment? Or do you think someone else is? Perfect. And by perfect I mean, yeah, that'll do. I got some dregs there. There we go. Just for you? Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no problem at all. Just go ahead, go wild. I'm an idiot. Didn't mean to do that. Fortunately that was just IPA, but I still didn't want it actually doing that. Oh well. I didn't want liquid going under the 3217. 18 in this case. Okay. Clear. That reminds me, when the hell's Tim Herman's flux going to get to me? Everything's been severely delayed around here due to the floods. Like we only just got the bridge open yesterday after a week. It's fun when you don't have supplies for a week. Haha, Harold, you're going to fight with me on that one. I2C is what I always call it. They shouldn't have labelled it like that. Oh, right, picking the wrong board view. Thank you, City. Yes. It happens. Come on, come up to temperature. Done. Let's have a look at the edges on those. Yeah, okay, that one there does bother me a little. what is that? That's pin 1, and pin 1 on this is a signal pin, so that's kind of weird. But it kind of feels like it's, I could be wrong, but it does feel like it's been chewed out. Yeah, that definitely looks undercut, so I'm going to have to pull that chip. So much for my hopes of a easy job. Fortunately, there's no NAND or anything like that on the other side, so we can have a pretty easy run with that. Okay, it wasn't too bad. It was starting to cut under it, but it didn't get very far. But yeah, you can see it there. You can see where it was starting to chew away, but the rest of the pad was fine. So this would have been just fine for data recovery reasons. So we're just going to actually pop that back down. I'm not even going to change the solder. Hey Paul Howe, welcome. Andrew Hughes is here too. Ah, brilliant. Just brilliant. Alright, so at this point we've done the minimum amount I feel that needs to be immediately done before we do a test. Now if we get 20 volts off USB-C, then I'm probably going to load it straight back into the chassis and see if we can get a login and just run. USB-C, pew, pew, pew. I know a lot of you are probably going, you're not repairing it properly, you got to fix up all that liquid damage. And the answer is no. This machine essentially now is just a parts donor, a body donor as it were. And the only thing we want from it is the data. And once we've got that, the body is useless. And chances are, the more we stuff around with it, the more we try to fix up that other, beautify it, the more likely we are actually going to lose our chance to recover data. So there's only that one area by the MagSafe 3, the MagSafe 3 US PD controller. That was a concern to me. But if it can live without that, and if it doesn't cause issues with the rest of the board, then I'm good. Jeez. Yeah, these are no good. Yeah, anyway, they're all corroded out. No great surprise. Looks like I'll have to get my own one. Oh, actually we'll nick one from the other side. Then we've still got the issue where the screen itself might be buggered too. And that is going to be a problem. Okay, we're cutting it all hard with the time here. Might have to push a little further than I like. Okay, we're going back to USB-C, but we just want to see if we get 20 volts. Anyway, see how we go. Because if we get 20 volts, we can hook it up with the battery, and there we go, we've got 20 volts. Okay, That's good. We've gotten through. By getting 20 volts, it shows us that then it's talking to the CPU, it's negotiating the power signals, it's firing up. So chances are, I plug this into the rest of the chassis now, so long as the screen's not buggered, we should be able to log in and get data. How do you know the Macbook 3? Well, I'm assuming based on the fact that the MagSafe 3 runs with a 3218 and the USB-Cs are running with 3217s, and from what I seem to remember on the schematic, it did run its own separate system, and as I was saying before, you can actually run it without a battery, the machine without a battery, strictly on MagSafe 3. But you can't do that with the USB-C only. But like I said, that's fine. The battery looks intact enough that I should be able to do this. And if it does work, that's great. Keeps my job time down to the level where I want it to be, and the customer gets their information. Of course, it could end up being something more serious. I don't know. But I want to test before I go any further. Because there's been plenty of times where you can go overboard with trying to clean up the damage, only to actually make it worse. And I gotta say, it is easier though when you know you're dealing with a data recovery situation. Whereas if you've got a customer who is kind of hoping that you can recover the machine as well, then you've got to, it's a lot harder. You really need to get them to let go of the idea that the machine's recoverable in these scenarios. It's just not. I mean, okay, maybe some highly impressive people will do it. And in which case I say, bravo to them, let them do it. I'm not. Sorry, it's... Customer only wants to pay a certain amount, then it's just the nature of it. If you put it into a hard drive recovery perspective, it kind of makes more sense. Like if you say, someone gets their hard drive recovered out of a dam where it fell in for whatever reason, they're not going to expect that they can keep using that hard drive. But understandably, because they invested whatever these are, $3,500 or something, into the machine, they would like to be able to continue to use it, but you can't. Probably worth asking the customer if they're interested in selling it. Unfortunately, Miles, I would love to do that. But in these scenarios, I don't get to communicate with the customer directly. But whenever I am dealing direct with the customer, then I pitch it. They're like, I can buy the chassis off you. But because I'm dealing with B2B here on this one, it doesn't get to be my choice. I do let the people who send this to me, I tell them, if there's an opportunity that the customer wants to sell the device, then let me know. But I think most of the time, the other store buys it, or if they get the opportunity, they'll buy it and not sell it to me. They'll keep it for themselves, which is smart. Yeah. Because I've got 2442. I've got a few others, but these Pro ones are pretty hard to get a hold of, primarily due to the high expense. And then people say, give me $1,000 for it. And it's like, no. So, nope. So I know it feels like it should be worth $1,000, but it's really not worth $1,000. For me, I'd pay $300 for it, which is low. But at the same time, you've got to pitch low for these ones. Man. Hey Siri. Okay. So close. Oh, creature, yeah, I saw about that landfill one, yeah. And of course, he's pitching it sort of like, hey, invest in my attempt to recover this, and I'll give you a portion, but of course, no one's going for that. Or very few people are. And then as far as I know, the council is inhibiting him from doing that too. But yeah, I've seen that one. Okie dokie. Truth of moments. Put the protection system on. Privacy protection. Where did my thingy go? Left the power cable out. Oh well, it's not a big issue. Just plug it in. Except that we have reconnect the battery. Now I'm being overly pedantic here, but I prefer not to screw up when this close to the finish line. Okay. Hey horse, another long since seen person. Okay, hopefully this doesn't disconnect. Was that a bong I heard? Did I hear a bong? So, okay, we got charge current. Did I hear a bong, or am I just wishful thinking? I don't have any fan spin. Just clearing away the center just in case I see the Apple logo without a backlight. I have done a number of recoveries where you have no backlight, so you just hold a torch up. It's a painful way of doing it, but once you've logged in, then you're good. Trackpad's reacting. Cap locks is on. I feel like we've actually booted. We've got cap locks and we've got trackpad. We don't have a display output. Oh boy. We're booted at least, that's a start. Crap. I'm not even going to bother fix the backlight. It's just not worth it. Okay, I am aware that the alarm went off before. Gotcha. It was a drama. Unfortunately, no, you can't just inject backlight voltage with these screens anymore. They have a very specific set of skills. Yeah, you can put 50 volts or whatever into them, but they still won't go forward. So I'm going to guess that the T-CON board is dead. We'll actually be lucky if it is just a backlight, but I have a horrible feeling it's probably the T-CON board. And if it's the T-CON board, then there's no real way to repair the screen effectively. If I see an Apple logo, then I'll be happy. If I don't, then I'm going to hope and pray for this HDMI output to be functional, which 99% of the time it is not. Oh, flipping hell. The main reason why I'm worried about it being the T-CON board is because of the fact that the backlight area didn't actually have any damage on it. So my guess is it is generating... Okay, let's have a look, see if I can see. Okay, definitely got power there. Am I cycling? Ah, shit. Come on. God damn it. It's not good that it's doing this. I have a feeling this might actually be my cable playing up. What's happening is it's drawing more than what the brick can give. So it's holding steady now, but if it tries to boot, it will make it reset again, simply because the brick can't supply enough. I need to get myself one of the 140 watt units, ones that they'll do 28 volts and things like that. Alright, while that's charging, I'm going to go and sort micro out. Now, for the sake of the customer's data, of course I'm going to put that there, so you guys can't spy and steal. And yeah, I'm just going to go do micros injection and I'll be back. Papa, there you are. You come in for your injection? Hey, Mimi. Whoops. You been stealing biscuits again? Ready for your shot? Give you a shot. Yeah, come on. You want to sit down? You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Let's find a soft area. There we go. Hold on. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. Have we had any cycles since I was gone? Or has it stayed pretty much at the 4 amps, 4.5? Harold, some of them do give it when it disconnected, but it's not guaranteed. The problem is the security model. Apple decided in their infinite wisdom that they would disable the external display unless explicitly enabled. And unfortunately, in order to do that, you have to get into it. So it's one of those delightful catch-22s. Thank you, Paul. Hey, John. Oh, John, yeah, I saw it. For some reason, it kept dropping that out on you, the channel. I don't know why. It wasn't me. It wasn't my settings. Okay, so what are we? 4.5.12 is the maximum it's run at the moment. I'm a little worried if I hit the button, it's going to immediately restart it again. It's staying pretty heavy there. Might have to wait 10 minutes for this one before I try and fire it off. The other problem is now, of course, what it's going to do is it's going to go into, this Mac has had a problem starting, do you want to reset your password, all that sort of gibberish and fun. And that's not going to be good. Still holding 4.5.12. The reason why I'm looking to see if the current drops down a little is I feel like, okay, it's got like 5% of battery in it or something like that, and it's coming down slightly from the peak current transfer. Excuse me. But it's actually all for the charging. Okay, we're down at 5.11 now. Yeah, this is all charging the battery. If this was not charging the battery, if this was going into the logic board, then there would probably be something close to a fire on the board somewhere. Where we also have a complication is because the lid angle sensor is disconnected, it makes the machine treat it like it's constantly open lid. So the moment it tries to fire up, we can't do anything like close the lid to put it back into idle mode so it can charge a little more, back up to 512. Jeez. Yeah, 96 watts or whatever into the battery, yep. Oh, 90 watts actually, yeah. So within 10 minutes you should see 3 or 4%. But definitely, yeah, 90 watts in any sort of small location on the board. Anything less than an inch square, it would be glowing or pretty close to it. I would be able to feel it probably from here, like just putting my hand over the board. No dips while I was gone? Okay, that's good. I'll plug in the HDMI. We might get extremely lucky that the person may have previously used his machine with an external screen, in which case we might, it might play in our favor. Okay, screen in. Press the key and see what happens. Okay, key resets. Not sure why pressing a key would reset it though. That is actually kind of weird. Hey, let's try rip. I think I just heard a bonk. Oh, we've got a screen. We've got an output. Yeah, this is alive. Yep, that's alive. Okay. So at this point, really what I have to do is I've got to go... Naturally, I don't have the password. No one ever gives me the password when I need it. They'll give me when I don't need it, but when I do need it, if it's time sensitive, I don't get the passwords. Anyway, so what I'm going to have to do at this point is tell the person that we need to do a recovery here for the sake of chance of keeping it. And what I'll do is I will keep a local copy here of, say, a time machine backup. We'll then send the machine to them, and then they will do their own backup there. And if the machine, for whatever reason, fails back where they are, then that's okay. We've got a copy here on, as a safety. And then if they say, yep, it's all good, we got it, then I can scrub mine, and everybody's happy. So it's a fail-safe system that I like to use, because otherwise what some people do is they send the machine in this state to the destination. Either it gets lost in the post, Greg would know all about that, or gets damaged, or it just simply dies again by the time it gets there, and then all the data's lost. So anyway, we've got to win. And so this is a good example of when you get liquid damage like that, dry brush it away, have an assessment, look for those parts where one of the pads has been eaten out from underneath, fix those up, but try not to go overboard with trying to repair everything and cleaning up all the damage with flux and boil and stuff like that. That was fine with the earlier machines, but this sort of stuff, you're really better off, or at least I find I have a higher success rate if I go for the absolute minimal amount of repair required to get the data off. If later you feel like you got time, whatever, and you've got the data off, then fine, go wild, fix up whatever you think you can, try to get back to being a normal operating machine. But at this point, it's definitely not going to, because we don't have a working screen. We've barely got a working, ports here. It's going to be fun because I've only got one working port here. But that's okay. We can use a docking station. Oh, we got to win. That's what matters. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, whenever that may be. Until then, you all take care. I'll see you next time.